One lie destroyed his entire future, and by the time the truth finally came out, 6 years of his life were already gone. Brian Banks looked like he had everything going for him. He wasn't just another high school student. He was one of the best football players in the country. Coaches believed he had the talent to make it all the way to the NFL. Scouts were already paying attention, and one of the biggest opportunities of his life had finally arrived. Brian had earned a full football scholarship to the University of Southern California, better known as USC. For a young athlete, that was a dream. It meant a chance to play at one of the biggest college football programs in America. It could completely change his future. His family was proud. His coaches believed in him. His friends thought they were watching the beginning of something special. Everything seemed to be falling into place. But sometimes, life can change in a single day. One accusation would erase everything Brian had worked for. His scholarship disappeared. His football career stopped before it even started. And instead of preparing for college, he was preparing for court. Brian was accused of a very serious crime by a 16-year-old classmate. The accusation shocked everyone around him. People who had once cheered for him suddenly looked at him differently. His name was no longer connected to football. It was connected to a criminal case. Brian insisted he was innocent from the very beginning. But saying you're innocent doesn't always mean people believe you. As the legal process moved forward, the pressure became overwhelming. Faced with the possibility of an even longer sentence if he lost at trial, Brian accepted a plea deal. That decision led to years behind bars and years under strict supervision after his release. In what felt like an instant, the future he had imagined was completely gone. Prison changes people. For Brian, every single day behind bars was another reminder of everything he had lost. Birthdays passed, football seasons came and went. His teammates kept playing, some even reached professional football. Meanwhile, Brian watched his own dreams disappear from inside a prison cell. He kept saying he was innocent. But outside prison, very few people were listening. Years passed. Eventually, Brian was released, but freedom didn't mean life returned to normal. He was no longer the athlete everyone remembered. Years without serious training had taken a huge toll on his body. The scholarship was gone. The football opportunities were gone. Even finding a normal job became difficult because of the conviction attached to his name. For many people, that would have been the end of the story. But something unexpected happened. Years after the case, the woman who had accused Brian reached out to him through social media. Imagine getting a message from the person whose accusation changed your entire life. Most people wouldn't even respond. Brian did. At first, the conversations seemed normal. Then something happened that changed everything. Brian decided to secretly record one of their meetings. He needed answers. He needed to hear the truth. And what happened next would completely change the case. During their conversation, the woman admitted something that almost nobody expected. She said the assault had never actually happened. Brian listened carefully. After spending years in prison, after losing his scholarship, after losing his future, he was finally hearing the words he had waited years to hear. According to the recorded conversation, she admitted the accusation wasn't true. She also explained why she hadn't come forward sooner. She was afraid, not because of Brian, but because she feared facing consequences after receiving money from a lawsuit connected to the original claim. Earlier, she had filed a civil lawsuit against the school district, claiming it failed to provide adequate security. The case ended with a settlement worth about $2.6 million. Now she worried that admitting the truth would force her to return that money. Brian finally had something he had never been able to show before. Evidence, real evidence. His legal team quickly moved to reopen the case. The recording became a major turning point. Investigators reviewed everything again. The court looked at the new evidence, and eventually, the conviction was thrown out. Brian Banks was officially cleared. After years of telling everyone he was innocent, the justice system finally agreed. There's video footage showing the moment Brian learned the charges had been dismissed. He breaks down emotionally. You can see years of pain leaving him all at once. It wasn't celebration, it was relief. Pure relief. But even after being cleared, there was one problem nobody could fix. Time. No one could give him back the years he lost. No one could erase what prison had taken from him. No one could rewind his football career. His body wasn't the same anymore. He had missed years of development that athletes usually depend on. Even though he later worked incredibly hard and briefly earned opportunities with professional football teams, the path that once seemed almost guaranteed had become much harder because of everything that had happened. Some losses simply can't be measured. The legal system admitted Brian Banks should never have carried that conviction. The woman who had accused him was ordered to repay the millions she had received from the school district after the truth came out. But Brian's compensation looked very different. For losing years of his freedom, for losing his scholarship, for losing his reputation, for losing precious years of his athletic career, he received only about $150,000 in compensation. Think about that for a second. How do you put a price on 6 years of someone's life? How do you replace missed birthdays, missed opportunities, dreams that disappeared while someone sat behind bars? The truth eventually came out. His name was cleared, but justice delayed isn't always justice fully restored. Brian Banks' story isn't just about one man. It's a reminder that every criminal case carries enormous consequences. And when the system gets it wrong, the damage can last a lifetime. Around the world, there are still people who continue to maintain their innocence while serving prison sentences. Some will eventually be cleared. Others may never get that chance. Cases like Brian's continue to fuel discussions about evidence, due process, wrongful convictions, and how justice systems can be improved. Because sometimes the hardest thing to restore isn't freedom. It's the life that was taken away while the truth was waiting to be heard.